Hello, my name is Craig Jukes, and I have Josh Bin with me right here, and this is Jukes Lot's website. To start things off, I'm going to ask Josh here a few questions. First questions, in your own words, can you describe distracting driving?
Yes, distracted driving is such as like brushing your teeth in the car. Another one is doing your makeup in your car. Or texting and driving, or
That's a big one.
Or using your cell phone in the car. But my favorite is the toothbrush.
Toothbrush one, yeah, definitely. Just gotta keep your hands off the wheel right there. But let me just add some more stuff to it. According to distracting driving, the real definition, it says the distraction driving occurs anytime you take your eyes off the road, your hands off the wheel, and your mind off your primary task. So Josh, why don't you tell me a time where your story about the whole texting and driving incidents?
Okay. Yeah. I actually like to tell you a different story first.
Alright, let's go ahead.
Let's tell you about the toothbrush story.
Let's talk about the toothbrush story, yes.
The toothbrush story is my friend. He, every day when we drove to high school, when we were driving to high school, my friend would always brush his teeth when we drove to high school together. So, like that is a huge distraction.
Definitely.
And he was brushing his teeth at a red light. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And you know what? People do that all the time, actually. People don't really think of it as a distracted driving, but it's a very important distracted driving thing.
Definitely.
My story is this. It was September 18th, 2010, at 11:30 a.m. in the morning. I was driving home to Ogden. That's where my family lives. They live in Ogden, and I live in Salt Lake. And so when I was driving home to Ogden, I get to Layton, by the Layton Mall, and I look down at my cell phone for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I looked down at my cell phone for 4 seconds. Is someone either calling me or texting me? I don't really remember. Within those 4 seconds, I got to the emergency lane, and I pull over to the emergency lane, and I hear the rumble strip, and then it scared me, and so I overcorrected to the left, overcorrected to the right, and rolled my car 4 times.
4 times?
4 times.
Wow.
And so, so I rolled my car 4 times. I was ejected out of the door. As you can tell, my arm was broken.
Show the camera a little bit, just kind of go up there.
So my arm was broken. Broke my humerus bone in my arm, and it's one of the hardest bones to break in your body. And I was ejected out of the door. When I rolled out of the door, you'll see the picture, and you'll see the door bent inside out. The door was bent inside out, and that's my body.
That was from your force of pushing it.
Yes, force of my body going out that door, and I skipped across the freeway, and my arm was shattered. I broke my collarbone, if you can see that.
Yep. It's a little...
Yeah. So you can see my collarbone right there. Broke my collarbone, and when I skipped across the freeway, my ear was actually taken off as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So your whole ear back on?
So if you look at my ear, you can see the.
Okay.
You can see it right there. So yeah, you can see the marks in the back of my ear.
Wow.
And so, as my bike skipped across the freeway, and I had road rash from head to toe, and my liver was swollen, and they didn't think I was going to live because, it was a really bad accident. And they life-flighted me to McCady Hospital, where I spent there for 7 days in the hospital, and my liver was swollen so much that they had to ice it, and that's all I can do for a liver, and so they were really concerned about my liver, and so they had reattached my ear back on. They put metal on my arm, as you'll see in the pictures. There's metal on my arm and in my collarbone.
Wow.
And yeah,
it's pretty intense. Did you let's see. Did you ever think to yourself that this would never happen to you? I know there's a common word that people use that, oh, it'll never happen to me. Did you ever like feel like that was one of your words that you used before, or you just kind of just took the risk knowing that, I'll take a risk. It might happen, it might not.
I think that's a very good question that you asked me, because I would agree with you. Like, I didn't think it would ever happen, but here I am. Like, it did happen.
Exactly.
And one of the scariest times of my life, actually.
Well, I'm glad you shared that story, but that's probably personal and probably go around. Have you ever gone to like other schools and like gone and tell to schools and told people about your experience?
Yeah, I actually do that every year. Actually, I go.
Oh, really?
I do. I go around to other schools and I go and tell high school kids, such as yours itself, and I go and tell you guys my experience at other high schools.
Nice. When you were in high school, did they ever have like assemblies that would try to like tell people to watch out, be careful when you're driving, that kind of stuff on the road, or was that just kind of a new thing in this?
Well, see, I graduated 10 years ago, 2005.
Yeah.
And cell phones weren't a huge deal back then as they are now.
That's true, yeah.
There was a problem, but not as big of a problem as there is today.
Definitely.
Something that's different from, back then is text messages were barely around, and calling and things like that. But what's really interesting about today, in 2015, is everyone believes that they need to get that text message now and look at that text message now, that email now, that Facebook message, that Snapchat. Everyone believes they have to look at their cell phone now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the problem that in our society is today. They need technology at our fingertips. They need it right then and there. And honestly, I believe it can wait. I believe you can wait for that text message. You can wait for that email. You don't need to get that information right then and there. People understand that people do get busy and they can wait.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I've had friends in the past who are just like, oh, I gotta do this now, or this person's just gonna feel like I'm neglecting them from texting them. I'm like, no, if you're fine, you can just hold off, wait till you get to your destination, or you can text them before you get in the car and say, hey, BRB, I'm driving my car, I'll text you when I'm safely out of my vehicle. That
exactly.
kind of stuff. Do you remember the last time you were in a car with someone who was texting and driving? Like, say you're in the passenger seat or in the back seat and someone's driving you and they were texting? Do you remember like a time, or if there is a time?
Actually, it happens quite frequently.
Does it now?
Yeah. And I actually asked the driver when that happens. I remember 2 weeks ago this happened to me. I was driving and I was in the passenger seat and my friend was driving and I told him to stop driving, and then I told him, I was like, seriously, please stop. Please stop driving. Like, please stop texting. Like, I need you to pull over if you're going to keep texting. Right. So that's what I tell them, like, pull over. Like, I don't want you to text and drive.
Exactly. Or they can, like, take their phone and be like, hey, I can finish that for you.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of have you ever texted and would you say you texted and drove frequently before your accident? Or was it kind of like just an occasion? Like, sometimes, like, I gotta go finish this text real quick and I'm back on the road? Or
I would say I did it a lot.
You did?
I did. I did it a lot.
Mm. And have you done it since your accident, text and driving?
Not really.
Not really? Just kind of died off after?
Oh, very much so.
Sweet. Awesome. That's good to hear. So you can be unchanged from texting and driving. It's not like an addiction. Would you give some of our viewers some advice to like not text and drive?
Like I did tell you guys earlier, you don't need to be texting. You don't need to get that information right then and there. A life is way more, your life and the other person's life is way more important than that information you're getting right then and there. And I think that is very important that this day and age, that we all do not text and drive because it could cost someone their life. And we want to live as long as we can. We don't want to shorten our life here on this earth. And so we want to live as long as we can.
Awesome.